Hey there, and welcome back to another Genshin Impact video. Today we're talking about the event of 3.1, the main event of 3.1, which is the Mondstadt Festival, and also we're gonna be taking a look at the new area added to the game, the desert, the Sumeru Desert. So, why don't we begin? Let's start off with the event. This event was centered around Razor's parents, but also the festival, I can't pronounce that name, but the wine festival for Mondstadt. We have seen this time and time again, of course, with festivals, of course, being the main event of a patch. We've seen plenty of Mondstadt festivals. The previous year, it was the autumn festival for Liyue. I think it was called Moon Chase. This time, we go to Mondstadt. I guess maybe the next year we'll see something in Inazuma, but I don't know exactly. So, let's begin with that. Story-wise, it was okay. It was decent. A good premise with Razor's parents. He's a character that hasn't appeared at all, really, in the story. In the story, of course, he hasn't appeared in any events or anything as a main character, so it was nice to see him again. And he has kind of an interesting premise of how the heck did he end up with the wolves and such. So seeing perhaps stuff about his parents is definitely an interesting thing. The problem is that because this story is a limited time event, they cannot reveal that much. So the story basically ended on nothing gained. Really, the last cutscene just showed, Razor's parents supposedly, but they were just basically two NPCs. And nothing more about Razor's past. So really nothing crazy. Between like the start and the end, the story was okay. You went around, met a few characters, started searching around about the wine and such as you were making the Thousand Wind wine, whatever it was called, and it was decent, right? You went on a few places, met a few of the characters. That was okay. But again, like, you can't reveal that much because it's a limited time event, so we didn't get some huge lore dump on Mondstadt in general or Razor himself. Though we did, of course, get Mika, our new cryo sword, I believe. No, I think it's actually cryo polearm, from what the leaks have said. And hey, he literally looks like a humanoid chocobo. So I can't wait to see what Mika brings. We got some more stuff about Varka. So cool stuff there, some cool extra stuff from the event, I have to say. I guess the other problem that I have with the event is that characters that weren't really tied into the main lore, that didn't have to do with the wine and such, were about searching for Razor and they were connected to Razor, were basically reduced to the classic "hey, we exist" appearances, where they come in for a non-important cutscene, they speak 3 lines or maybe a bit more, nothing happens, and that's it. That happened, you had Amber and Eula. They don't do anything with the story or anything, so what the fuck are they doing? I think they were actually, kind of tied into one of the mini games with the store, so still, they were basically just, hey, we exist. Hey, remember, here's the cast. Right, then they had Diona, which I guess could make more sense into the story, because we were making wine and she's a good bartender and shit, but she was not really, she didn't do anything. She said 3 lines and a bit more and she was gone. Right. Sucros and Noel were present, also basically just a nothing really, because their appearance again was basically nothing. Right. Oh, they gave you one of the ingredients for the wine, but it's like, we could have seen anybody else really do that. So again, I mean, why was Noel there, right? Just get Sucros, right? You see, I don't like these "hey, we exist" appearances. Kaeya, Diluc were a bit better, but they were also kind of like that, right? I don't like these. Remember these characters? Rosaria seems to be more important to Razor, so that was fine that she appeared, but she also appeared just for a few lines. Stop it. I'll mention it when we get to the mini games, but there are actually stuff tied to the Mondstadt characters and one of the mini games that was present that I liked a lot. But yeah, that's it for the story really. It was okay again. I don't like the fact that when we have a festival, we need to show all of the available characters from a region. We don't need to do that. We just don't need to do that because it brings them down. Just coming in to say hi isn't really fun. Just have them in the overworld, actually. Just have them in the overworld, like walking around, just standing in a place where they belong to, and just let the player go talk to them. That's that. They don't need to be in the story just so that they can appear and be like, we remember that these guys exist, right? So that's that. But yeah, that's story-wise for the event. Let's move on to the minigames. So this is a festival type of event, which means that we don't have one type of play style on our gameplay. We have a variety of stuff. And today, this time, it was pretty okay. Some ups and downs, but most of it was at least enjoyable. So the first type of minigame was centered around boars. It had 3 play styles. There was the first stage where you needed to just kill lots of the boars, which I think was really fun. It was really nice. You were stuck to the traveler and you had to just hit the boars to gain points. You could get some buffs to, kill boars. You could trap them and such. Like, it was actually really fun. Kind of like an arcade game in a sense, right? You need to get the high score, of course, and the gameplay was pretty simple. I would have actually liked that they just kept this gameplay style and then just made more stages, right? Because it was fun and just some variety in the stages, perhaps the layout of the level of the area that we're in, or some sort of buffs or other boars appearing with some sort of effects or anything. I would have liked that more instead of just changing the gameplay every time a new stage was up. So yeah, the second stage was this sort of Metal Gear stealth where you needed to capture... No, actually, it was like Pokemon Legends Arceus, or Arceus. That was the kind of thing where you just needed to go stealth and throw out the net to catch the animals. And it was like pretty boring. Like, there wasn't really anything interesting about it. It was just stealth. So again, I would have just liked it to have been more stages of the first gameplay style. And then the last stage was the Great Snowboard King and you going up against it, but you were stuck to the traveler, and then you needed to kind of like stun it by making it go to the middle where there was like this sort of smoke screen, smoke trap, or there were these traps with the nets, and then when it went there, it would calm down or be weakened, I guess, and then you throw the net to deal damage to it, or you could also do some attacks, but when it was like enraged, you basically dealt no damage. It was a decent fight. It was pretty basic, like nothing crazy. Okay, like I'm fine with it being like the final stage of something. Although, to be honest, I would have liked it to be that we have the other stages with killing the boars, and then this Great Snowboard King is angry at us, so we have to defeat it. Like, I would have liked that more, to be honest. But yeah, like at some point he also summons the boar, some extra boars, which can be very annoying because you easily get stunned by them if you get hit. Which happened to me a lot of times, and you need to like kill the Snowboard King in a time limit for the rewards, which can be annoying. Like, might need to retry it once or twice because you need to like get some timings and shit. Like, it was a bit annoying, but again, okay, like decent gameplay. Again, I would have liked the stealth thingy to be gone and replaced with more stages of killing the boars, high score style, like arcade game style. I actually really like that one. That was the first type of minigame. The second one was a combat style. We've seen this again, where you just go from camp to camp from monsters, and you kill them. You use like the anemo, like stuff to go, like the anemo hoops and like currents to go from camp to camp of monsters. Now it's again, we've seen this again, I think in Mondstadt once again. So that was okay, right? You could get some buffs with the Anemograna, but to be honest, there was no time limit, so you could just do whatever you want with your teams to just kill the enemies. And the enemies were, basic, like Hilichurls, some Abyss Mages, and Ruin enemies. So nothing crazy. Like, it was fine. Just a bit of combat amongst the more casual festival stuff that you see usually, and that was okay. And lastly, there was this barrels and shop minigame. So first part of this minigame, like category, I guess, was that you had a shop that you had to manage. I did not like this one. So you opened up a charity shop to earn some funds to donate to such. Okay, good. But the thing is that the gameplay was extremely boring. You just had to manage your funds to like get into to like reach the like appointed funds or quality on 3 like characteristics of your shop, and then you were basically done. You hit a button and then you just get more money. I did not like this one. You had some buffs to buff up the numbers without spending funds, but it was just boring. And then at some point you also got 3 shops to manage, but it really didn't change anything. Just put buffs on each of them for the 3 characteristics, spent some funds, and it didn't really matter. The next cycle that you had, you always had enough funds to get it. So again, I didn't really like this one. It was very boring. Like, that's the thing, it was just boring. Nothing really happened. Oh, at some point you had these emergencies, or the limits, like the amount of funds you needed to use were a bit more, but it really again didn't like do anything. It was just boring economic resource management, and you didn't have many resources. You just had the funds. So again, I didn't really like it. I would have much rather a sort of like Overcooked or PlateUp style of gameplay where you were getting orders from customers and then you had to fulfill them in a time limit, perhaps. Like that sort of thing, like, oh, gather up stuff in your store, like make something. You had a snack shop, like make the snacks and give them, like put them on, like give the orders out. So again, like Overcooked or PlateUp style. I mean, not exactly like those games, right? But again, you're getting orders from customers, maybe even characters characters that we can play as would come to give you some sort of really special order that needed more attention, and then you had to make the snacks and give it to them. But I would have liked that much more than this really boring economy management. So yeah. And then the second part about this was that you could also decorate the shop, which did nothing. You just could decorate it. But to decorate it, you needed to find these barrels everywhere in Mondstadt, scattered around Mondstadt, that had like wishes from people. Like, that was really nice. Like, you went to the board, you saw that people gave out hints for where the barrel was, and then when you went there and you were close, you would get a marker, and then you would open the barrel and you see what people wrote inside of them. And inside some of these barrels were wishes from characters we can play as, like playable characters. And I would have much rather that they didn't show up in the story and just stayed as these barrel like wishes, because again, they don't belong in the story. It's better to see this side of the character, where they are wishing for something, and again, not see them in the story doing some sort of uninteresting, unimportant dialogue. Or, as I said, if the gameplay style of the shop was to give out orders to people that were ordering snacks, you could have characters be these emergency orders. So yeah, the barrels were again okay. Like, the hints were pretty easy to find, with some exceptions. Like, I think Klee's one, where she says like, oh, I put it next to the place where I go like fish bombing, and you're like, where the fuck is that? Right? But you could at least look at the area where it was, so you could easily find it there. Like, you know that it is in the Statue of Seven that is surrounded by this small like puddle of water, so you know that you can see the area. Like, the other one was like on Windrise, where you're told that it's next to Windrise in a red tent. And it's like, and then you go and see the area where you're saying next to Windrise could be anywhere, and then the area for some reason is huge. I don't know why they did that. It took me so much time to find this small ass red tent next to Windrise when the game told me that the area was actually closer to Springvale than Windrise. Like, yeah, like, again, a few exceptions of some difficult ones, like Fischl's one written in her classic Fischl language, which was extremely annoying, but you could easily like understand that it's in the library because she said stuff about books, that was the only indoor one, actually. That was interesting. But again, I would have liked more playable characters to be like have the wishes in the barrels, because they didn't belong in the main story. But again, it was fine, like, good. And then you got some ornaments for your for the shop that you could decorate. But yeah, that's the event. Story was again decent, and the gameplay was okay. The shop wasn't really fun. It was pretty boring. I would have liked a different style of game. The characters I would have liked extra characters that didn't belong in the story, because the story wasn't about them, to appear in the store for some emergency orders, or as they appeared in the barrels to stay in the barrels for the wishes, I like that much more. So yeah, that's the event. Let's move on to our second part of the video, which is the desert. So we have got 3.1 and we got the new desert area for Sumeru. I liked it. I'm gonna also talk about the Archon quest, by the way, so spoilers for that if you haven't done that. But yeah, I think the desert region was decent. It had again ups and downs, but overall I liked it a lot. So let's go quickly for the Archon quest. I won't spoil a lot here actually, but there is a bit of spoilers. So we got 2 new acts, 3 and 4. I would say they were okay. We got lots of cool lore stuff. We got lots of lore information about King Deseret, the Scarlet King. We also got a bit more info on Ruka Devata and her appearance even, which was really nice. I would have preferred we got the actual Ruka Devata instead of Nahida, but nevertheless, it was okay. I guess the pacing was a bit weird, right? Like the first act where you're with Nahida and she's in Catherine, and you go around the city, you look at stuff and you learn stuff, which was pretty okay. And then of course we got Dotore, right? Like that was a really nice, cool appearance, right? And then the fourth act was just a bit weirdly like paced. Like that's the thing. You just went around the desert, the other places, the other stuff, and then just lots of dialogue. That was the really, again, pacing was the problem. The dialogue in it was cool. Like I liked Sino versus Al-Haytham. Of course, the cast of characters, even Candace and Deja were really nice on their appearance. And again, the group of travelers, Seno actually that's his name, Seno, Al-Haytham, and Candace, Candy's nuts fit in your mouth, and Desha were pretty decent. Like I like the synergy of these characters, but again, like it was just a bit paced, like slowly, like weirdly paced on. At some point we're with the group, at some point we're just with Al-Haytham looking at other stuff, at some point we're just with Seno, at some point here's a random ass kid that's looking for his grandpa. Like again, weird stuff instead of just going straight to the point. But again, decent Archon quest. I preferred it a bit more than the first acts, a bit more. Act 2 especially, because the dream sequence just lasted way too long. But after that, immediately Act 3, much better. Let's go on to Sumeru. Let's go on to the desert and its exploration. So, I liked the desert more than regular Sumeru. I liked it more than the rainforests, because there wasn't that extreme level of distinctiveness between grassy Sumeru and basically Mondstadt with its grassy hills, which is a problem, right? We're in the land of Dendro, we're surrounded by nature, but if you want your first area to be nice and grassy hills, there's going to be a problem where the theme gets recycled. And that's why I didn't like all of the regular Sumeru, and I preferred the desert, because the desert adds a lot of unique environment into Sumeru. We haven't seen a desert, right? So that's really cool. That's why I liked the desert more than regular Sumeru and its rainforests. Like, Sumeru definitely had some really cool points of interest, like of course Vanarana, but again, I like the desert a bit more in general. As for mechanics in the desert, there weren't really any new ones. Like, we still have the Dendro ziplines, no mushrooms or Dendro rocks, right? When you need to hit the rock with Dendro so that it can rise up. None of that. So we did lose a few, like, mechanics. We got these sand piles that you can blow with an animal, and like, okay, cool, I guess. We got some new enemies for sure. More era mines, of course, showed in the desert. We got the new primal constructs, which, I'm gonna be honest, got a bit annoying, because as you're exploring the insides of the pyramids, of the structures in the desert and the underground of the desert, you many a times find just one of these, and it got really boring finding one of the primal constructs, killing it in like a second or two, then moving like 5 steps, here's another one, moving like 10 steps, here's another one, like a minute later, here's another one, just like alone, like not in groups of 2, not in groups of 3, just one here, 5 minutes later, like a minute later, one here, 10 steps later, one here. It got really annoying and repetitive, just going one by one killing these constructs. I hated it because also there weren't any other enemies. Why not have some eremites in like the structures? Because they just got trapped in there, or they're looking for something, right? Like, just have some of them, have some hillagers, something like that. Not just one primal construct, one more primal construct. How many primal constructs do you fucking want? Like, it got really annoying with those guys. But yeah, and I guess talking about the underground, we need an underground map. We need some sort of layer selection, or at least the minimap switching to the underground map when you are underground. It was so annoying. The experience of exploring underground in the desert and in the Sumeru's caves was abysmal, because you just got completely lost because you don't have a map. And when you like wanted to teleport perhaps somewhere and you don't know which teleport is underground or above ground, you get completely confused and waste your time teleporting around trying to find which place you want to go for, like you want to go to. So yeah, like we desperately need an underground map. Other than that, I guess we can talk about the world quests that are in the desert. That is Golden Slumber, and then another one with an old guy. Golden Slumber was decent. Pacing was okay. Compared to the Aranara, I actually liked it a bit more, because with the Aranara, you got like 3 quests to go to each to an Aranara, and then each of those will give you to other 3 Aranara, and then do other stuff with NPCs. Like, I hated this like spreading of the quests. I don't remember the term for it. While with Golden Slumber, it was just, here's your group, let's go around the ruins finding stuff, and that's that. The pacing was very decent. You basically went through all of the underground by following the quest, which I really liked. Exactly like the Aranara, where you were told go to each area of the Sumeru map to meet the Aranara and explore, which was again nice, but a bit too much, or a bit too many quests on the Aranara questline, while here it was more linear and I enjoyed it a bit more. I hated though the clearance thingy. So at some point you get a slab that allows you to open stuff and do puzzles in the desert, and especially inside of the underground. And you need levels of clearance to do each quest, to do each mechanism. Now, during Golden Slumber you get some clearance, so you most likely think that either I will finish the quest and get full clearance, or I get some clearance now, and as I explore the desert, I get more clearance. Bull fucking shit. That's the thing, like, I finished Golden Slumber, and I explored all of the desert trying to get some more clearance, and I didn't find it. I had to search up, how the fuck do I get more clearance? And it turns out, oh, you gotta wait 1 daily reset, and then go back to Aro Village where you're gonna start the second part of this world quest. Like, it doesn't like appear after the daily reset. No hint is given to you that go back to Aro Village to do more stuff. You just need to go sometime there. Which is really annoying, because I want to finish exploring the desert, but I need the clearance, but you're not telling me how to get the clearance. But yeah, well, as it turns out, oh, you gotta go to Aro Village where you will start the quest. Again, not when you log in back after the daily reset will you get a new quest, new world quest, go to Aro Village to start it. Nope, just go there, figure it out on your own, or search it up, or ask around. I didn't like that. And again, I wasted all of my time searching all over the desert, trying to get clearance, then I finished the second part of the world quest, and then I needed to go back through all of the desert to find out where were like gates or mechanisms that needed higher clearance. So extremely annoying. That was extremely annoying. But overall, again, I liked the underground. It was really nice. There was some nice lore stuff. I liked the basilisks, where you needed to find the stones, you needed to find the slates and put them in, but you could also mark the surroundings, like stone slabs, I think of slate. You know, the stone thing, the like pieces that you needed to find and put into the basilisk to activate it and get some nice rewards. And again, I really, really liked that you could go to one of the basilisks and mark surrounding ones. Really, really, really good mechanic. It took the mechanic from Enkanomiya with the seals that you needed to put on specific places and made it even better. Good. That's the improvement that I wanted to do. Now give me an underground map. I guess that's really it about the exploration. I didn't enjoy the music that much, to be honest. It was way too subtle for my liking. Also, exploring the above ground desert where there's a lot of dead space and you need to like go through the dendro like zip lines. I would have loved if they just basically copied Nier Automata and put in the sand sliding mechanic from there. You could go so fast in Nier Automata by sliding in the sand. If we had that in Genshin, exploration would have been perfect. And again, I also didn't enjoy the music. First of all, most of the time you just got the same Sumeru fight music, maybe slightly remixed, but I'm like, if you're just gonna do this slight remix, why not just make a new battle theme for the desert, right? I didn't like that. The general music was okay, just a bit too subtle for me to like. Inside the pyramids, I think it was a bit better. But to be honest, I've been completely, absolutely spoiled by both the Nier games' desert themes. Memories of no joke. When I was exploring the desert after finishing Golden Slumber, I just instantly put Memories of Dust, Temple of Drifting Sands, the Prestigious Mask, I believe, which is the theme for the town in Replicant. Which one else? And Gods Bound by Rules. I put these four themes to play on the background, and it was amazing. Especially Memories of Dust. Like, Memories of Dust has become my go-to desert level theme. Like, I'm sorry, I've been completely spoiled by it, but I'm gonna be fucking honest, it was so much better. Going into the new boss, Asimon, with Gods Bound by Rules, man, was it a completely different fight. I'm not gonna lie. But I would guess that you also have some good desert level themes, like Legend of Zelda has some good desert level themes, so you might want to, use them in the background as you're exploring the desert. Like, I'm not telling you that the desert themes sucked. If you like them, you like them. But I'm saying that, with the battle music being just a remix, it was kind of a lost chance to give us a new desert, a new theme for the battles, right? And again, I kind of don't like how ambient sometimes like Genshin's music is. Put some more power into it just as I'm exploring, because it can make it nice. Again, like Nier does it so well. You don't necessarily need full-on ambience when exploring, especially in Genshin, where you're gonna go into battle every now and then, and we get this. My goodness, like a bit back, I understood the problem that I have with Genshin's battle music. It's got the Sonic Unleashed problem, where the battle theme is always the same and always like takes from the level theme whenever you go into battle. Like, the problem that I had with the Primal Constructs, where you just fight one by one, that meant that you start a fight, you hear the battle theme, you kill the Primal Construct, it switches to the underground or like above ground music, and then you walk 5 steps, and then here's another Primal Construct, here's the battle theme again, starting again. That's the Sonic Unleashed problem, and I absolutely hate it. I would have loved if instead of that we got, of course, the Nier treatment, where you have you have a nice, like, instrumental perhaps of the area while you're exploring, maybe a bit of a non-pop while you're doing a story or something, and when you get into battle, the song goes hard. That would have been much better, but again, Genshin has the Sonic Unleashed problem, and I cannot believe that it does have that, where you have the level theme, and whenever, even just one Hilichurl, one mushroom enemy, you go into battle, the battle theme starts. I that's a general problem in Genshin, but I get it got to me now. Nevertheless, that's it. Let's let's recap everything. The event was decent. It's a classic festival event. The story was nice. The minigames were okay. The only shop minigame was pretty boring and I didn't like it, but the other ones were pretty nice. The desert is cool. The story, the Archon quest, did much better than Act 2 at least, with just a bit of weird pacing around, which was okay, didn't ruin the experience a lot. I love Seno and Alhaitam's chemistry, which they hate each other basically, but I loved it. And then the exploration was good, and with just a general quality of life needed. Fix being, of course, we need an underground map. Overall, though, the desert was really, really good. I liked the lore of it. I liked the architecture of the nice and crazy like places you went with the pyramids and such. And yeah, it was very enjoyable. So that's it for me for this video. Like and subscribe to help the channel a lot. Yeah, I really need it. And I'll see you all in the next video, possibly being this Seno review because I finally got the scarabs. See you in another video. Goodbye.